Let me reintroduce myself. My name is artist. Hey. We up in here. No, I'm Big U. I'm from South Central LA, born and raised in the Crenshaw district. I got pretty much the same life as most people. Came from the gutter, now we here.
Under all is the land, real estate. Courtney and friends about to show you how to generate wealth. Get educated, do for yourself. Add a couple notches to your belt. Under all is the land. Under all is the land. The real under all is the land. Under all is the land. The real estate. Coming to you live from ACME Real Estate in Los Angeles, California.
Welcome to Under All is the Land. I am your host, Courtney Poulos, here with my rock star co-stars, Silke Fernald.
Hello.
And Dominique Madden.
Hi.
We have a very special guest today, someone we absolutely love who does such great work in Crenshaw in South LA, but also is an entertainment entrepreneur and just a man of many gifts, Big U. Welcome, Big U.
Woo!
So, welcome, Big U.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, they said we was rolling earlier.
So anyway, I heard you can sing. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a joke. No, I don't sing, but I am the king in R&B, though. King of R&B.
Who's your favorite R&B artist?
Eugene Henley.
You?
Really?
Oh, Eugene.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. Give us something.
I mean, I can't even say who my favorite R&B artist because then I get in trouble.
By who?
By
Or
all
the other ones that you're not
No,
naming?
by all the people who he did something bad to.
Before we go too deeply into things, I want to introduce who you are to our audience. So go ahead. How do you introduce yourself, Big
So
U?
let me reintroduce myself. My name is artist. Hey. We up in here. No, I'm Big U. I'm from South Central LA, born and raised in the Crenshaw district. I got pretty much the same life as most people. Came from the gutter, now we here.
I think there's a little more to it than that.
It's a lot more to it, a lot more drama. You know what I mean? I had a lot of drama growing up, kicked out of California for being a part of all kind of gangs and all that stuff. And then came back to California about 85 and tore the city up. Incarcerated, did a lot of years, just about 13 years. Came home, met a lot of good people like yourself and this team right here, and kind of got my life together. And I got my life together, started one of the biggest nonprofits in LA, founded a couple of different artists, did a couple of big films, just did some contracts, got a new contract. She trying to force me to talk about movie situation.
I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Movie and film situation that's jumping off right now. So, but my biggest love is 2021 and 22. I've been and graduated 9 young men from college, D1 colleges.
Wow.
Yeah. So just to get a little bit deeper into all of that, so you have a lot of entertainment kind of projects going on. You manage musical artists.
Yes.
Yeah. Produce television shows.
Yes.
Dramatic and reality.
I actually make money doing it.
You make money doing
There's
it.
a difference. See, a lot of people say they do it, but it's a difference in making money doing it.
Right. Okay. So you're not just doing it for fun, right?
No,
For
I would
profit.
still do it for fun, but I actually make money.
You have a podcast
Yes.
called Checc'n In,
Yes, I have. Yes.
where you interview a lot of really big stars.
Yeah, they're all right.
They're all right. And that's on Caffeine this season, I saw.
Yeah, we did a couple of
different.
episodes with Caffeine. But I mean, I don't, to be honest with you, probably the first time people hear it, I don't really like it.
You don't? Why is
I
that?
don't personally like it because, I mean, it's a lot of work.
Because you're doing live engagement while you're airing the episode?
Well, when you that right there is a little bit more fun than actually setting up the episodes, being there, shooting it. It's a lot of work that goes around doing it.
I remember visiting your set
Yeah.
this season and beating you at a game of darts. You remember that?
And then, yeah, we had fun.
This is one of the best victories I've ever had because there were a million people watching.
No
I could
pressure
not mess up, and I had to hit a double bullseye to win. You were close.
You did that.
I did that.
She's a
I
good
know.
dart player.
And I was like, okay, I'm out. We didn't play a second game.
Okay, so since I'm finna be right here, and then it's gonna probably go over all the internet. Big U gets beat by a fine woman and throwing darts. Let's get this straight. Okay, let's get this straight. I didn't play darts. She showed us how the dart game goes. So that means her and her husband were cheaters because she came with a full knowledge of how the game goes. We were totally playing the game incorrectly, right?
Well, I think you were playing like high score. You know, like just trying to hit the highest numbers you could. What I taught you was called cricket. It's a different game. It's the game. It's the competitive game. Like if you are in a dart tournament or something like that, which maybe one day you will be in.
A dart tournament.
Yeah.
Okay.
You play darts for money. See, you can make that profitable too.
So you guys see the stage? She already knew what she was doing. She probably has about 30 dartboards. I've never had a dartboard.
I was just testing you to see, you
I
know.
don't even know who in our crew came up with the idea to do darts.
Well, maybe you should investigate that.
Because
Have you played it since?
I lost to Snoop in darts.
Oh no.
I lost to Sean Kingston. I lost to you. I'm not that good.
You're in the group with
I'm right in there.
I think you and Snoop should play though.
Hey man, set it up.
No, I think you and Snoop should play.
I'll do it.
You throw like Snoop. Snoop like.
Okay, I'm gonna
Maybe
put
my arms
a
are
t-shirt
too
on
big
a
to be
t-shirt.
doing that.
No, I'll teach you. But that to say, you have this big, beautiful set. You interview a lot of people. I saw the Mike Tyson episode.
Yeah, that was fun.
Interesting.
That was fun.
Yeah, you got some co-hosts on there.
Yeah, me, Gilly. Who was it? Me, Gilly, T.I.,
Yeah.
Trick, Tyson. But I like that part. I like to have the
talking to
conversation.
people.
Yeah, but it's like the setup and the, I can live without it.
Okay.
I can honestly live without just, just. I'm kind of like trying to move away from the internet.
Okay.
Myself personally.
And move into mogul status.
Kinda
You're already there.
I'm not there yet.
You're almost
I'm
there.
probably about 3 shows away. No.
All right. So we heard it here first. So that's going on. And then you've got Developing Options, which I know is your heart.
Yeah, that's what I love.
Yeah, and that's what you love. And so Developing Options is a nonprofit where Big U works with kids, helps them get outfits, play sports, brings NFL stars in to encourage and inspire them. And your son's playing college football too, right?
Yeah,
and killing it.
Yeah, killing it.
Killing it.
Yeah, he's number one. He's the number one defender. He's the number one linebacker in the nation right now.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah,
What school is he in?
He's at Washington State.
Okay. So you make superstars on the field and off the field. What is it that you love so much about Developing Options?
Well, it's kind of like being able to get young people when they're young and then raise them to be something great and you get to see it. And then seeing parents who might need help and helping people really just because, I feel like that's my calling, really being able to help people and see people reach it to the next level. Because if you notice, since I came home, I've always wanted to help people be great at what they want to do.
Did that transformation happen while you were incarcerated? Like you had revelation?
Actually, my transformation happened before I was actually incarcerated.
Tell me about
I
that.
had cut my hair off in like 1989. And, I actually read Malcolm X's autobiography. Mm-hmm. And not to go into a long story, but that book I read in like 88, 89. And it kind of changed my whole frame of thinking. Mm-hmm. And so in the change, when I came back to LA, I really didn't have no other hustle. I hadn't been to school, I hadn't did nothing. But when I wanted to stop selling dope and doing gang banging, I kind of was stuck. So I didn't know how to do nothing else. So I was like, well, maybe if I robbed the drug dealers, then
that
maybe it won't be so bad.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, I ended up going to do 13 years in prison. So yeah, it was like the Robin Hood theory, but that's really where I was.
It's so funny because I was listening to Roxanne Shante just now when we were coming. It was like there's this thing she does on her Sirius station called What the Fuck is the Meme or something? I don't know. Anyway, the meme was you can't steal something that's already been stolen.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah. which kind of is
Right.
relevant,
Like,
oddly.
who's gonna call the cops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I
they
mean, that's what
created a
stick
law.
up
I
kids
know.
like
That's
do.
a
They
good
created
one.
a law?
They created a law for that.
Really?
They created a law for robbing drug dealers.
Well, how does that work? Because I know
Transit,
in
like-
our industry, you can't enforce an illegal contract. So how exactly
And
does
so,
that work?
And so what that is it's still a robbery, but it's I can't remember the federal name crime for it, but there's a crime for robbing drug dealers. There is an actual law.
But
And you get
two
less time?
You get 2 baddies with 1 call.
You can actually get charged for the amount of drugs that they had that you were attempting to rob from them.
And what happens
Wow.
to them?
Yeah.
Well, if they cooperate, I guess they get off free. I've never been on that side. I don't know what happens to them. I was on the other
It's
side.
like a twofer. You know?
Yeah, I was on the other side.
Crazy.
like a
So
trap.
it seems
Seems
like
like
a
a
bad
trap.
idea. Yeah, it does seem like a trap,
Interesting.
doesn't it?
It sounds unfair. Like you're selling drugs.
Well, yeah.
That sounds like enforcing an illegal.
No, but that really
law to
is
enforce
a law,
illegal-
and it
That's
really is a
crazy.
crime. Yeah.
That's crazy. What is not to get too far off topic, but what's happening right now on the streets? Like, you know, COVID had a big impact on our city. What are you seeing happening right now? In
Well,
like,
crazy. I hate to say this, but the government fucked us again. No.
they do that well.
Well, what happens is COVID had such a major swing. It was an up and a down.
Mm-hmm.
So you went into COVID. It stressed everybody out. A lot of people thought the world was going to die. So they didn't do what they think they had to do. So everybody's 5-year plan kind of went, and their 10-year plan went.
Right.
So then you had people thinking they're living for the moment, and people who acquired money that they shouldn't have had. It's almost like you giving a drug dealer or a crackhead a whole pound of crack. He gonna smoke it, and then next month he's looking for that same pound. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna happen. So a lot of people start living above their own means and in that little time span. So it affected a lot of things, business-wise, stress-wise. We see in our neighborhood now, a whole lot of houses vacant. It's almost like what happened in real estate. Years ago, we was talking about how
With the foreclosures, you mean?
foreclosures, they came in getting people to remodel their houses. And when they came in and did that, they really took the houses. They lost them because of that.
So you're saying that you see a lot of houses vacant in like View Heights or,
Yeah.
you know,
A whole
yeah?
lot. Yeah.
Should we buy them?
Yeah, we definitely should. Well, I don't know if they're good buys. I mean, from a business perspective.
Well, let's talk about
I
your
see
real
one.
estate. Are you buying in real estate right now?
Yeah, I stopped right now, but because I've been, like I said, I've been focused on this project I'm writing, and we got one that's, and so I'm finishing that. We're negotiating with that. Then I'm trying to get a bigger deal.
Okay.
So I'm trying to actually land a deal with an actual studio,
Yeah.
like in the millions.
Okay.
So
Let's
then
go.
I'll be able to, after this deal, I want to have something so I can go out and say, okay, I'm putting out this slate of films.
Because I think, like, with all of the things you've got going on, all the
Mm-hmm.
contributions you're making, legacy and real time, it seems like owning real estate is a way to,
Definitely.
you know, hedge against displacement, keep things in the family, to help
Definitely.
people get a leg up. Like, we were talking about developing options actually helping a lot of homeless kids. Like, that's something that happened during COVID, right? Like,
No, that's something that went real crazy. And because of COVID, a lot of people found out how terribly bad their kids were
oh, because they spent time with them.
because they had to spend time with them at home.
Wow.
And they started giving a great appreciation of school
Right.
and teachers. but no, the real thing what you was talking about is when COVID hit, we started having a lot of young men who were displaced from home because their parents were like, "Damn,
You're
you
bad,
really
get out.
work. You like really you don't do nothing," and they weren't used to doing work. And so now you at home with your parent or your cousin, auntie, whoever, and they're not used to doing no work at school. So now the teacher's texting back, he hasn't turned in his homework, and that turns into a conflict in the house. And so that was a lot of kids in the first, like, maybe 3 months of COVID, we had kids wandering the streets all over LA. And then wandering the streets, doing robberies, jacking, so just trying to eat and live. And that was a stress on us. So we seen that go up crazy. Those numbers went like stupid crazy with kids being displaced. And so we ended up renting hotel rooms, getting them, and then the kids would tear up the damn hotel room, and I'm like, look, y'all ain't gonna have nowhere to go. I'm not going to keep paying to the people telling me y'all tearing the rooms up.
Do you feel like you got through?
We did get through, and then we started trying to find ways to get parents in houses. Then it ended up like I had my little house on Arlington I bought.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up just putting a bunch of beds in there. And then that turns into somebody got to stay there.
To make sure that
Yeah,
nothing bad's going
they
down?
jumping out the windows, and it's like
Party house.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say they turned into a party house. It was just that if you didn't have a game system and we didn't have enough TVs in there, then you want one.
Right.
And then if you don't got one, you leaving because everybody else got something in there, and it wasn't like a real structure.
Right.
We didn't have enough time to have it to be a real structure because you kind of like you moving right there, just trying to. And I had just bought the place, so I'm like, okay, well I ain't gonna keep paying for these rooms in the Airbnbs and they tearing them up.
Right.
I'm gonna lose on my soul. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just sacrifice and put it in there, and we put them in there. We kind of got it right once we got the right person to be in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's a trial and error thing
It's
with a lot of.
But we need to have more of that. And so what's happening, and not just our neighborhood, like every neighborhood, it should be a place for kids to be able to go, boys and girls, where they can feel safe.
Yeah.
That's gone. Like we don't have that.
We don't have any community centers or anything that are
We
safe.
don't have none. And so because of my experience in my house, it would be very simple for us to have that, and then put cameras in there that any parent can tap into. So you won't have to worry about nobody being molested, raped, or none of that. It's just cameras all over the place, like in every room, and everybody knows it's being filmed. You know what I'm saying? Just because I went through that, so I know how it should work. Mm-hmm. And everywhere but the bathroom, and it shouldn't but one person be in the bathroom. So that means the kids can be watched, the backyard can be watched. But we should have that where kids can go, and because our reality is we all, in LA, we are in the gang-infested areas.
Yeah.
Spanish, blacks, whatever have you, you're in gang-infested areas. In those areas, everybody can't go there. Like I won't send a kid from our neighborhood to another house in another neighborhood.
Right.
If we were able to have those houses, because we know that's just drama.
Right. Right.
But the state doesn't know that.
Right. So they do that.
So they do that a lot.
Or maybe they know and they just. Do you think they
I'm
really
gonna pray
don't
that
know?
they really don't know. I'm gonna just pray they really don't know. Because it happens a lot. Kids
Have they
coming
ever?
home on
Has
probation.
anyone ever reached out to people who are like
They
community
do
leaders
now.
like you
they
and
kind
say
of
like,
can this kid go here?
Exactly.
And we're like, no, you can't go there.
right?
But it might not be nowhere else for him to go. It may not be no alternative for him to go.
You know what this
somewhere else.
sounds like? It sounds like a TV show.
Oh yeah. I think they had one like that too. Before.
Scared straight. No.
Well,
Well,
I
not
mean,
scared.
it doesn't sound like it has to be so punitive. Although I
Yeah,
think
no.
a boot camp situation for a lot of kids is exactly what they need,
Right.
including my own probably. But
I mean,
you know, he's doing great though. He's doing super well right now.
so good.
But there are I was raised by a lot of different like father figures and mentors, and I'm so appreciative for those people in my life that stepped in. Like my father passed away when I was really young, and I needed somebody to take on that role when my parents couldn't. And I think it's not just these communities, it's kind of everywhere. I mean, a lot of the psychopaths who are unloved and walk in with AK-47s and blow schools up are not like black kids from Crenshaw. Sorry, they're not.
Right.
So this is a social problem, and from my point of view, that is largely because we don't have community support systems that people want to go to, that are like actually in touch with what it is kids would willingly go to and do. Are there literally like no YMCAs or anything that's
No.
up?
Well,
yeah.
we have a YMCA in our neighborhood, but it closes at a certain time.
Right.
And they don't do that no more.
Can't sleep over there.
No, they
there's
used
no-
to do it, and I think when they was doing it back in the days, it was kind of,
dodgy.
I ain't
Yeah,
seen my
bad
kids
stuff.
there.
Okay, gotcha.
So when you bring kids into these homes, is there like an accountability system for them?
We was on a rush. We didn't even have like,
Oh, it was just like on a
it was
whim
like,
and
boom,
yeah.
we need somewhere for the little homies to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
when
y'all
we
ain't
say-
got to be robbing people.
Right.
Right, that's
when
the
you
point,
say
right?
kids, what age are we talking?
We was all, we had all ages. We had all ages. And that was a thing. I'm glad you said that. Because now you get all these other kids and it becomes a bully situation if somebody ain't there. which it really wasn't too much of that because people were just trying to go somewhere to sleep. But in the morning, you got to get up and get out and go somewhere. Like, ain't nobody gonna be here. I ain't got nobody sit here all day.
You know what? That sounds like it could be a really good setup, especially if there was like, like if this was really fully fleshed out and there was some sort of accountability system that like encouraged them to live up, because now there's an expectation set on you and a reward at the end of that. Like there's a cafe, I think is it La La Land Cafe, that hires like at-risk
I went to
teens,
that place.
and they have like a whole program that they do where like there is some like they ask them to, like I think they give them job training and like different things that hold them more accountable.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because we had something like that with the city that was doing, where I can hire kids to work in our store and they get paid. I actually don't know what happened to that program, but I think the funding fell out when they started moving. And then so they'll have ideas for funding. The city does, but those things run out.
Right.
They run out after so long. It's a great program. It helps kids, but once it runs out.
So developing options has been going on for several years, though, right?
Because I hustle.
Right.
I get one contract from the city. That's for the gang intervention part. But everything I do for the kids, I do on my own. I have people like you donate a large sum to us, and I go through other people to do it. And so with that, we get clothes, we do summer football things, and like even like I was telling you about the house. You remember when I first got the house?
Yeah, I remember.
And then the operating of the house and the stuff we was doing with the kids. So that all is swept under the rug fast. Because if you got to imagine trying to feed your house, but not trying to feed 20, 15 kids that's coming and going till their mother figures out, like, okay, we can come back home.
Yeah, so where were the parents in all of this? Like, where are the parents? What's
Same way
happening
my
with
mother
the parents?
was. Same way my mother was. Fed up and stressed out. Because I got to the point to where, and I can't fault none of the mothers, because when my mother found out who I was outside her house,
Yeah.
she was like,
She was like, you can't come back here.
my mother found out in the most atrocious way, I guess, because the police is hitting her house.
Yeah,
And they looking for stuff. And my mother, because I wasn't a bad academic student.
Right.
But all my cousins were. So not all of them, but me and Slim was kind of like, but so academically I wasn't the worst. I wasn't definitely no best, but I wasn't the worst. But when she found out, like, this dude got guns, stolen jewelry, all this stuff, and he accused of what? So and then when you it's like I said, these parents don't know until COVID. So it's almost scary. You're like, you raise your son to be this, and you think he doing this, and then it's like your daughter. When you let your daughter go to school, what she do? She go around,
Changes her clothes.
Change her clothes.
Yeah, I
she
did that.
becomes somebody else. So
I did that to an extent.
I got in trouble. I had to sign a contract saying I wouldn't wear makeup, I wouldn't wear big earrings, I wouldn't change my clothes. I was in second grade though. I wanted to be Madonna. Whole different story. I was doing it for different reasons. Different reasons. I wanted to be Madonna.
we're gonna pray for her.
I don't do it anymore.
So yeah, it's like the parents are there, and in the parents' defense, because my mother was a hard worker. My mother didn't want to accept no aid.
Outside.
She didn't want that. She hated that. She didn't want to be the black woman on welfare and all that. So my mother worked, and I just got smart enough to time her working. She went to work for the post office at 6. No, she went to work at the post office at 4, and then I went to Crippen at 6. She was back, and I was back. I got right back right before she would. She would get back. And so we just timed it. And my sister then would be like, okay, your mom called. I told her, okay, well, no problem. And because my grades weren't the worst, she didn't have the alarm to look. You know what I mean? And a lot of these kids are in the same student. A lot of these parents are in the same way. You find out your kid is, like, the worst thing to most parents now is their kids smoke weed or drugs. But now marijuana is legal, and you kind of at the age where it's kind of oxymoron. But 6-7 years ago, that was the first sign. Oh, he's smoking weed, he's going to go to jail, he's going to do this. Now he's smoking weed and everybody smokes weed, so we're dealing with a different oxymoron now.
You know, I want to know, like, if you think that the solution should be, like, community created, because
It has to be.
Has to be, right? Because otherwise
be.
it's going to seem cheesy and stupid, and, like, some outsiders are coming in trying to, like,
It has to be.
enforce what they think is right. Like, there's this story. I met this guy one time. He was from that very famous family. Why can't I remember? Anyway, board of Harvard, 80-year-old guy, anthropologist. Okay. He said he went to Africa to install an irrigation system, raised all this money, and then he installed the irrigation system and went back a few months later to check and make sure it was working properly, and everyone had capped the irrigation system. And they had to figure out why, you know, so you didn't have to walk so far to the wells and, like, the thing. So it turns out that, like, getting to the water was where the tribes would interact. They didn't do the research to know, like, hey, getting to the water is how people date. Mm-hmm. So they capped it because they didn't want to stop walking to the water. They needed to walk to the water to, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. It's like kind of like this outside forces come in and try and
That don't know what people
that don't know what people will
in
go
the
to or
community.
engage with.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, people will engage with sports
Right.
It has
Right?
to come from within.
and music.
Right.
I mean, do you have music programs too for kids?
We don't really have, I don't have it. I need a building.
You need
So-
to build it. I want to be part of that.
I need a building.
Oh, you need a building.
I actually have people who have donated music equipment, and we just need a location to get to.
There's got to be so much talent just
Yeah, I think
no,
that
with
would
no
work out.
access.
I donated equipment to Crenshaw High School. Me and Snoop did a couple years ago, but I think we need an outside program. You know what I mean? And so I'm just looking for a building to put to land the equipment. I actually have the equipment. If I had
Okay.
a building like
So we should be hunting for a building. Snoop gonna buy it?
No,
Oh, you're gonna buy it?
Snoop. Yeah, I'm gonna buy it.
Who should we talk to? We can help find it.
No, we'll buy it. We'll
You're a
price it
busy
right
guy.
now.
You have people doing the hunting, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I just be like, I kind of do it myself. I get people to
Yeah.
send me like property or whatever have you, but I do need a building for the kids to go to, because then I can put some of the kids can stay there. The music can be there, it
Exactly.
can be
Some
like-
in sports, some in music.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. That's what
a
I need.
genius idea. I love that. Okay, I want to turn the subject for just a second. So, who is your favorite person you've ever interviewed, aside from our conversation?
Yes.
But I'm really interviewing you, so
My first person.
favorite.
I haven't interviewed her yet.
Who?
Her name is Maddie.
Maddie?
Yeah, Maddie L. Henley. My mother.
Oh,
That's the right answer.
They ain't did the
That's so
interview yet.
cute.
She ain't gave it to me yet. So no, but my stepfathers, two of my stepfathers just passed
I'm sorry.
last weekend, and
wow.
one is Donald Ray Evans. He was a great man and leader, and he influenced me in a lot of good ways. No, he actually influenced me in the best ways. And then Howard G. Ford, he died 7 days before him. And, both of them poured into what I became today. Both of them were the good side of Big U. You know what I mean? So I met Howard. I was about 7 when my mother met him. Then he was later incarcerated. So he actually died in prison. So he did
God.
39 years, and he died in prison. He just died last weekend. And then Donald Ray Evans, my mother's last husband, he just died at 90, I want to say 94, 95. He just passed. So shouts out to them. There were some great men. They helped pour into me. When I got tired of being the other person, they helped me become who I am today.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, this is what we're talking about, like strong mentors, obviously, having relationships with people who are more successful than you and actually taking some coaching. Being coachable is like half the battle. If you actually are open to people coaching you, which is what I try to explain to the agents all the time, because our last episode, I don't know if you watched it, was on tough love leadership. I'm kind of a tough trainer.
You seem.
I seem scary, right?
Yes.
I would scare you, yeah. I just expect a lot out of people, and I realize the responsibility that goes along with our job if you want to be successful at it. If you don't want to be successful at it, the expectation, very low. But if you want to be part of our team and you want to actually be successful, my expectation is very high. And I get frustrated when people don't put the work in to be great at what it is. But you have to be coachable in order to even hear the words I'm saying or like to learn the lesson I'm teaching because I've been through it, you know? And I know it's very different than a life in the streets, which I did not have. But I have a life of, if we say the wrong word, we get sued. We have a life of liability. That's what our real estate agent life is about. It's like always avoiding liability.
That is actually the exact same.
Yeah?
Yeah, when you want somebody to be great, you have to be hard on them.
Yeah.
And not accept failure, not accept lackluster work. How do you say? I don't know. You said
Lackluster
lackluster work.
performance. Yeah,
Performance,
totally.
And that's how, and I think that's what makes me and other people like myself look bad because we tend not to want to accept other things.
I don't think you look bad. I think people think you're really changing lives, you know?
In that aspect, but then you're still a bully if you're trying to do something correct and you
Yeah, that's
expect
true.
people to do what they do. What are the interviews I've done?
Oh my God, you've done everybody. What are you talking about?
The longest interview was Ice-T.
I saw that one.
And that was more like interviewing-
Memories about.
Well, it's like Ice-T interview was interviewing somebody you idolized. Ice-T was a big homie.
I know,
Like,
he was like really important to LA, but I'm from the East
to
Coast,
us.
so yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like,
But he's, yeah.
Ice-T
that
set
was an
the
interesting
stage.
interview. He set the stage?
He set the stage for us because to me, Ice-T was the elevation. He even though he wasn't like originally from LA, he was like the Crip. Then he moved into music, and then now he moved into film and
acting
and
and all the
acting.
things.
So
Is he going to be part of your projects?
I would love to. I would love to have Big Bro. Right? I have respect
you're
for all of
watching.
them. You know what I mean? Like, I have respect for Puffy, Ice-T, 50 Cent, Master P, QC, all the men who have been successful in this industry and who have not spoiled and toiled their name.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Who have worked, and that's kind of like where I try to be, you know, looking at what they have done and, you know, toil myself in my structure, just looking at how, because I know now how people will soil your name and just because they want likes or whatever, they'll just shit on your name, just do it.
What do you think, is that what you think the biggest challenge is for you? Like, is that keeping your name clean?
No, because I don't dirty it.
Right.
So there's no way I can keep it clean because no matter
I mean,
what.
because there are rumors on the internet. You
Yeah.
know, people like to talk about things they don't know about.
But that's what I mean when I
blah.
say I don't dirty it.
Right, you don't.
No, I don't dirty it. So meaning that if any of the stuff was true, then I would be dirtying it.
Right.
But since none of the stuff is true,
Right.
then I can't do it. Like I can walk out here tomorrow, right? And then somebody will come up and say, well, Big U did this, Big U did. Like they're gonna chop you guys' interview up, right? And they're gonna read everything in it I said. They're gonna cut y'all out. Y'all interview
Oh,
will be,
no, don't cut us out.
You guys' interview will be, you guys' interview, I promise you the guy is gonna be like, tomorrow, Big U said this, and this is what he meant by this.
Are you saying you're going to make us famous for all the wrong reasons?
Because I don't really do, I don't do no interviews. I kind of cut that out. You know what I mean? But no,
I
look
don't
at
think
it
you've
like,
said anything controversial here.
Yeah, everything I say is controversial.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna cut it up and chop it up. They're gonna cut it up and like.
That must be exhausting.
That's annoying. Yeah.
Nah,
I guess
not
you
really,
can't
'cause
respond to
I'm used to
everything.
it now.
Publicity.
Right, right.
Yeah, they
I'm
say
used to it now.
No,
all press
there's no
is
bad publicity.
good press.
Oh,
Yeah.
she talks.
She does.
Well, it's interesting. You know,
Let's interview.
let's interview Silke.
So like tied to what you say. I'm just hearing everything you say.
The
It's
redhead.
interesting. Yeah.
Somebody ever tell you look like
Nicole Kidman.
yes.
Thank you.
I see that.
Is she from?
you.
Is she from?
She's
Here?
from
Australia.
Australia.
She's from
yeah,
Australia.
she was Australia. I'm from Germany.
Oh, how tall is she?
Oh.
She seems tall.
I've seen her once. She's my height, 5'11", 6 foot.
You play any sports? No. Just a model, huh?
Not basketball. No.
Just
She
good
was a
looking.
model.
I've heard
She
that
was a
one.
model.
I used to.
And an
Just
airline
like, I'm just gonna be
stewardess.
good looking and just like, oh, I ain't gonna worry about nothing.
I was a flight attendant.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
For what airline?
Lufthansa,
You still got
The
the buddy
German
passes?
airline.
You got buddy passes?
No.
Discount?
But every time I fly, she asks me what kind of plane I'm on.
Do you need?
I need buddy passes. Who don't need a buddy pass?
Well, you know, for Silke, I mean, and for a lot of people, I think for all of us, we all have to haven't had to investigate like what's happening in the neighborhoods where we sell, which I told you a long time ago. Like that's part of our commitment to community is like understanding what's really going on and making the effort to make a bridge. 'Cause it's not like people are going to knock on your door and be like, "Here's how we feel about a certain type of thing." I mean,
So
they
you're
might.
not selling at night?
It's gotten dangerous.
You're not telling people, come over when everybody's asleep. Look at the house.
No.
Right before dawn, where there's no cars moving.
No, I mean everywhere.
Wait, what?
Like people come they'll come show the neighborhood when they know nobody's gonna be out.
Like they don't want to see black people in the neighborhood.
Like-
That's what you're saying.
Because I'm like standing outside, like
You gotta
they're
stand
trying to sell
outside.
that house, bro. You don't want the bros be sitting over there, the cholos or the hustlers, you know, Crips and Bloods. Like,
Okay, now you're saying things that could be chopped up.
no, that's the truth. Like, you know, you can't be. Nah, if I was a real estate person, I would tell my real estate agents, look, you know the neighborhood, right? Don't take nobody over there at 3 o'clock. Now, that's one of those things.
You're not a real estate.
They wake up, they paid $700,000 for a house, and they like, it's a whole gang neighborhood.
Well, listen, I started selling real estate in LA about 11 years ago. Well, I've been in LA since 1997, but went here and there, came back and opened ACME in Highland Park, Northeast LA. Whole different type of gang situation over there. And we were literally selling houses next to whole houses of big families of gangsters. They came through, they swept, they did like all these things. Some people's houses had to be torn down. They planted community gardens. Like, I mean, it's definitely something that affects real estate values for sure,
Yeah.
but it's also like change is coming. So, you know, people are on the, you know, I started in a scary, dodgy, gangy area.
We're the new Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the middle of the city is easy access.
Yeah.
And the houses are beautiful. And I guess the challenge and what we've all been talking about, like what do you do, is to help people who want to stay. And people who want to cash out, use their money to build more money for their families because the prices are high. You know,
You don't
it's
have
like,
nowhere else to live if you do that.
that's the problem. But some people don't even live here anymore. They inherit houses or what, you know, I don't know.
It's like me. I'm ready to move.
Where are you going to move to?
I don't know. My daughter's finna leave, and there's really like nobody there but me, my wife, and my father.
Okay.
And eventually, my wife's mother will move with us. But we got a lot of house.
Yeah. Your house is huge.
We got a lot of house, and I'm not going up them stairs no more. Once everybody, I hate stairs. I'm too heavy for stairs.
Well, where would you move if you were going to move? Like you
South.
would. Okay. Like toward the
Definitely
beach?
south. Well, no. I mean, towards the beach anywhere, but anywhere south. I'm definitely not going to these valleys out here.
Okay.
Like the OC.
The OC.
Temecula?
Anywhere.
Temecula.
I love
I
Temecula.
love Temecula too.
We should buy a big house in
On the
Temecula.
south.
And we'll be neighbors
like that
with
one
you.
house.
We don't
that
need
you
a big
found.
house. I don't want a big
No,
house.
we.
Oh, yeah.
We need a family
I don't want a big
compound. We
house.
want a big family compound. No, Temecula is amazing.
Temecula is amazing. It
Yeah.
really is. And then you just drive an hour and a half and you're back in LA.
You're at the beach or at Palm Springs. You can go anywhere from Temecula. Love Temecula.
Downtown Temecula has great barbecue. It's awesome. They have a jazz club.
They have jazz.
So how was Vegas?
Well, I found something. I kept it.
Oh, yeah. She met Sam in Vegas.
Oh, you met Sam in Vegas?
Yeah. She met
Yeah,
Sam
my
in
husband
Vegas
in Vegas.
at a pool party.
That's
At a
true.
pool party.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's so cute.
That is something that happened in Vegas that actually happened.
Happened in
Yeah.
Yes.
That did happen.
Other
'Cause in
things
the-
didn't happen.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
in the words of my
Don't
boy
happen.
Stunner, if it happened in Vegas, it never happened. It never happened.
Okay,
So-
well, what do you? I'm just gonna wrap this back up because I know you probably have a lot of really important things to do, but we
They
could
can
probably
wait.
sit here and jabberjaw all day. But what advice would you give to people like us who work in LA and maybe aren't on the ground all the time? But what do we need to know that would be important to like the communities that you are part of and engage with and all of that stuff?
I would say find the people that's doing the work, who's really doing the work, and just help them like you did us. You know what I mean? Help them be great. Help them be, like what you did for us. We still using it.
Really?
Like we still
that's
use
amazing.
it. Came into this season. We got to see how we got the helmets painted too, and it's like because I still raise so much money every year, and but I would say help the people in the community that you're working in. If you're selling property over there, and then what's killer to me is like my show name is called Checc'n In.
Mm-hmm.
How people feel like that's a bad thing.
Like checking in is a bad
Checking
thing.
in is a bad thing. That always irks me when I check in everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And that's basically what you're saying. If you're doing something in somebody's neighborhood, why not help the people
it's
in the
respect
neighborhood?
too,
You know
isn't
what I
it?
mean? So I feel like it's always good to give back. But you got to have that heart too.
Right.
That's another thing I learned. Because when you give back, you don't worry about what nobody else say. When you're used to giving back, but people who really don't, they think it was pressure to do it. You don't do it. But like you can actually see what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And
I'm
it's
so
beautiful.
inspired by what you guys do.
It's beautiful.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I was so moved at the banquet when all the kids were on stage, and I thought, these are at-risk kids. It's like you're saving lives. It's like an incredible thing. So I honor you for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like
Thank
really something special.
I live for it. And then like something I'm proud of. We so diverse now. Like we finally got a lot of Hispanics in our group, in our program, and our numbers are growing. And I'm so happy that they feel comfortable to come to our program and see me as a leader. And it's so much respect to see. I got homies from 18, homies from F13. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, come on, you coach my son. I'm like, and I love that because now I feel like no matter what my people, how they shit on me, to see the respect come from them means that I'm really doing
The
something.
right thing. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I love it. I mean, because now I feel like, you feel like, okay, somebody's recognizing the work I do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because I could be, I always want to say this. You can shit on me all day long, but recognize that I could be teaching people to be gang members. I could be teaching people to carry guns. Instead, I'm teaching them how to block. I could be teaching people how to ship, shoot, and all that. Instead, I'm teaching them how to grow.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is what I do.
And creating opportunities through the other things that you're
Exactly.
doing so people can kind of rise with you.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Under All Is the Land. That was amazing.
That was
So good.
amazing.
Love Big U so much. He does so many great things, and he's such an entrepreneurial mind. It's like inspiring to be around people who are, doing
really
stuff.
The world needs more
Yeah.
big use.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
such a force,
Yeah.
such a positive force. Like I just love what he's doing and how he flipped his story. Like he could have continued with the narrative that was being written for him.
Yeah.
And he just literally flipped it on his head, and now he's saving his neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all these
You know,
kids.
it's
It's
like
so good.
Akil too in Lemert, like doing the same thing. Like, it is what we need to see more of, and that transformation story needs to be highlighted more. You need to see more heroes coming out of the system, and I think that's something that we don't shine enough of a light on. There's a lot of news stories about people getting locked up, but I don't see many about positive impacts that they've had once they've come out. You know?
What's the stories? What is he doing for TV?
Well, I think there are some things that he can't really talk about, but he's in the process, or I don't know, selling shows, and
But that has
he
nothing to
has-
do with the kids.
it doesn't have to do with the kids. I mean, he's done shows on TV like Hip Hop Uncovered on FX, and he's working on a few different projects right now. But I think ultimately his goal is to have more and more reality and scripted programs in the mix. He's got so much experience. It's like you could probably just write a whole show based on his life and like what
Yeah.
he's seen in LA.
I wouldn't be
changes.
surprised if that's coming.
Yeah, would
His memoirs.
yeah, I mean that would be cool.
Yeah.
But I also like the idea of that of kind of like all these kids in a house too. I would like so watch that, you know, being coached.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think Rich should do that too. You know, it's like, what the point is that people need father figures, community figures to lead them when in the absence, sometimes they have parents and they just reject them, you know, and sometimes there's an absence of parents, but either way.
And sometimes there's single moms that work their asses off all day long and they don't even know what their kids are doing. Like
That's
he was
exactly
saying.
right.
Yeah.
That's how my childhood was.
Yeah.
Nor
My
can
mom
they
had-
have control because, you know,
Because they're not
Right.
they're not the
They're not influencing
masculine
them. Yeah.
figure.
Right, but
Yeah.
but you know, when we make a mistake in State College, Pennsylvania, it's like a fart in the wind. When somebody makes a mistake on the streets of Los Angeles, you're incarcerated. You know, it's like there's no time to grow up and make mistakes before it gets serious here.
Right.
You know, where in many other places it is, and yet people are so quick to judge and jump down. You know, it's like you try having this life.
Right.
Like if I was raised with 2 meth heads in a trailer park, probably my life would look very different, you know, as far as getting out, you know?
I remember kids in State High, where we're from, the local high school, which is like 2,000 kids, you know?
Yeah.
I remember kids like gangbanging, like trying to gangbang.
It's
But
ridiculous.
like there's no real gang.
There's no
in
gang.
Central
They had to try and like
Pennsylvania.
align with it.
Yeah,
I remember
so
that
it's
too.
like,
It was
you know,
so funny.
They could have, you know, if they had been in a city, they could have actually been in a real gang.
Exactly.
But in our little bubble, it was like,
It was
you
a
know, it
joke.
was like a
It was
cute thought,
pretend.
but not real. You
Not
know?
real at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. It's
funny.
That's what it is funny. I remember like so my era is a little different than yours, but I was in high school whenever Snoop and Dr. Dre and when like West Coast hip hop like hit the East Coast, it was like game changing. Because prior to that, it was all like New York hip hop mostly, you know? It was like Brand Nubian and Tribe Called Quest, and it was all about, you know, intelligence and like nonviolence really, and safe sex and education. And
Was Bone Thugs, were they East?
no,
or
they're
West?
from Cleveland, but they were
Cleveland.
produced by Eazy-E, but that was post NWA and the breakup of the band and the whole thing. But anyway, so then when West Coast hip hop hit, all the kids like 2 years younger than me started like wearing like bandanas of certain colors. It's ridiculous. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But some of them really committed to it. Like they were idiots and doing stupid things. But even still on a much smaller scale, and I'm sure there are adults now that are perfectly fine and look back at that and think, wow, what a little idiot I was.
Right.
But, you know, the point is, like, some environments allow people to make mistakes and grow and get through their shit, and some environments don't.
Right.
Ruthless.
Yeah,
It's
it's like the system is
different.
put people on top of each other, designed it so that you have self-hatred and all these things, and then, you know, and then on top of it, watches you really closely. Okay, let's see what mistake you're about to make. Okay, I'm right there. You just did it. Okay, I got you. You know, it's like so difficult without having an alternative, like he's saying, like a community center or a space where people. I just think a music idea is such a great one, because music, you know, there's so much
be so
pain
great.
and talent and, you know, potential. I'm excited to see what he does with that. I'd love to be a part of that. Like sponsor some equipment or do whatever we need to do. Whatever we need to do, Big U. We're here for it. Also, I think I might have a dart game with Snoop coming up, so stay tuned for that. We'll broadcast that one live.
I'll be there with my phone.
Do it on Twitch, get donations.
Yeah.
Fund the center.
There we go. Boom. Brilliant. So while there was other big news that happened in real estate this week, we're going to talk about that on our next episode of Under All Is the Land. We will see you next time.
See you
See you
then.
soon.
Courtney and friends about to show you how to generate wealth. Get educated, do for yourself. Add a couple notches to your belt. Under